Welcome back to Coloring Through the Bible. My name is Keegan Harkins, and today I'm talking to you about getting over it. What a harsh topic. It's something that none of us want to hear when we're struggling with somebody or something in our lives, and we're really fighting with somebody maybe, or feeling hurt by something somebody has done. The last thing we want when we go to our friend for advice is to have them say, get over it. But sometimes that is exactly what we need to do. I have this fish tank. It's kind of a new thing. We bought this, or my father gave us this 30-gallon fish tank. So we bought all of this stuff to fit in it. And we bought all these fish. And I bought these pretty pink fish because I live in a house full of boys and I wanted pink fish, and they're little kissy fish and they were so cute. And then all of a sudden they just started acting really stupid and hanging out at the bottom of the tank and just, I wasn't sure if they were even going to live. They were just laying around and being really lethargic, and everybody else was just fine. Just these little fish decided that they were upset. So I was looking online and found out that these little fish that I picked out, because they were so cute and so pretty and so delicate, are big babies. And if any of the other fish pick on them, they start to pout. And they go to the bottom of the tank and they lay on the rocks and they pout. And they've actually been known to pout themselves right to death because they'll be so busy pouting that they won't eat and they won't swim around, and they'll get just so depressed that they die. And so I started watching these fish over the last week. And they'd be fine. They're swimming around. They're playing with each other. And then one of these, honest to goodness, tiny little fish, they're little neon tetras, they're like 3/4 of an inch big. They would bonk into these 3-inch fish, and the fish would, sink to the bottom of the tank and lay on its side and pout for like an hour before it would get over itself and start playing. And every time another fish bonks into it or takes a little nibble at its fin or anything, they pout. And I was so tired of thinking that these fish were dead. I'd get the net and I'd go and bonk them and they'd start swimming like, how dare you interrupt my pouting. It was just driving me crazy. And it's just really hit me how often we as people do what these stupid little fish are doing. Somebody bonks into us, somebody hurts our feelings or says something or does something without us and makes us feel left out or neglected or slighted in some sense, and we pout. And we sit at home and we eat ice cream and drink hot chocolate and watch a chick flick and just kind of shut the world out. And I am so guilty of that too. A couple months ago, somebody sent me this really mean, nasty email that was very threatening my family and the ministry, and I just wanted to throw the towel in. I thought, it's not worth it. I'm going to get all of this hate mail and my feelings are hurt and all of this horrible stuff, and I started pouting. And after about a day of pouting, I realized I have to get over it. I have to trust that God knows what He's doing. I have to get up and keep moving on, because that's exactly what Satan wants us to do. He wants us to give up. He wants us to throw the towel in and pout ourselves to oblivion. But that is not what God designed us for. God designed us for so much more. And we're going to have days where our feelings get hurt. We're going to have times when what God's called us to do is hard. Think of all the times that the apostles were thrown in jail. How many times was Paul beaten and arrested? And he had to get over it. He had to get over the fact that his flesh was tired, his flesh was sore, his feelings were hurt. The very same people that he was there to preach to help out, were the very same ones that were throwing him into jail. And imagine Jesus. The very same people that he came to save were the very same people who were shouting, "Crucify him." And you know what? He kept going. At any moment, he could have said, "You know what? You are not worth it. and gone back up to heaven. But he didn't. He kept going. And from a human standpoint, I think of David quite a lot with that whole attitude of just get over it. Because he was persecuted by Saul for no reason other than that David was more popular than Saul. Saul was king, but David was more popular. And Saul was kind of going insane. And David was somebody for him to vent. He knew the kingdom was being taken from him. He knew he had lost God's favor. And David got the brunt of it all. So he spent so much time running for his life, hiding in caves, living in obscurity, because of this persecution that he didn't deserve. He hadn't done anything to deserve it. And it's during this time that he writes some amazing and beautiful psalms. Psalms that aren't saying, woe is me, life is hard, it's unjust. But psalms that are reminding him to look up to the Lord, because he's the one who's in control. And just because our feelings are hurt now, it doesn't mean that God doesn't have a purpose for the pain that we're going through. There's lessons to be learned. There's rough edges of our personality to be sanded off. God will lead us through trials and temptations and tribulations to polish us. It's just like putting a rock in one of those rock tumblers. You put it in and it's ugly and it's a rock. And it comes out and it's shiny and it's smooth and it's got all these beautiful colors that you didn't see before, because it needed to be polished. And let me tell you, when you put a rock in a rock tumbler for it to be polished, it is just like jumbling around in there. It's not a pleasant experience. I wouldn't want to be the rock. But the outcome is so wonderful. And the same is true of us. The rumbling and tumbling, the sandpaper of our personalities, it's not pleasant. It hurts. It's scary. It's sad. It's kind of depressing sometimes when you're in the middle of it. But we can have joy no matter what we're going through, because no matter how bad it may seem, how much the hurt hurts, God is in control, and he'll never give us more than we can handle. But he won't leave us the way we were. He's constantly making us more in his image. So when we're going through those times, we need to get over ourselves and focus on God and realize that this is part of becoming who God has created us to be. So I wanted to encourage you today to focus your eyes on God. Look to him, because he will give you joy in the middle of times that you wouldn't think that you should be joyful. He'll give you peace when your life is in turmoils. So let's get our eyes off of ourselves. Let's put on our big girl pants. Face the world. Face the challenges that God has set before you, because there's a plan, there's a purpose, and a design that we maybe don't understand, but we will be so grateful at the end, looking back, that we kept going. Because God's not done with us. Until that last trumpet blows or the last breath escapes our lungs, he's not done with us. So let's praise God for that. And get up, get over it, move on, and be used by God. I hope you've been encouraged today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a truly blessed day.